Hello trader, welcome to our video today. So today I'm going to give you an update as I promised on Sunday video that we did on top-down analysis. So welcome all to this video. For those who are new to the channel, my name is Anthony. Okay, and I come here twice a week, once on Sunday to give you the top-down analysis. Then in between the week, either on Wednesday or Thursday, I do come here with an update of what has happened in the market and maybe what we are anticipating to happen. So that if that is something that you'd like to learn, then I can urge you, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, kindly make sure you do subscribe to the channel, and also don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you get notified immediately I upload a new video. So without wasting time, let's dive into the market and see what the market is doing. So our first pair today is going to be Euro USD. We are going to start with the daily time frame, and if you want the thorough analysis, you can watch our previous video. At least you will understand how we managed to arrive to this level. Okay, so Euro USD, we saw Euro USD reacting from this supply zone that is sitting the equilibrium, if I'm not wrong. If you pick up from the high to the low, we can see that this zone is resting really at the premium, right? So actually, I was anticipating for the Euro USD to have that deeper pullback into at least the 50% of our dealing range. But since now the DXY have already tapped the discount zone, then anything can happen. Remember, these pairs, they tend to follow what is currently happening on the DXY. So as long as we see the confirmation here, we're going to be looking for that selling opportunity on Euro USD. What kind of a confirmation are we going to look for? All right. So remember, on topics we did on not top down but time frame alignment. That is what is going to help us now. Okay. So immediately you have your key zone marked from the higher time frame. You need to know which time frame are you supposed to go to wait for your confirmation. If you have issue with which time frame you are supposed to go and wait for your confirmation, then you can find a video on my channel that talks about not top down, but time frame alignment. And then I promise you, you'll learn a lot on that video. So we are going to the 1 hour time frame because that is the time frame that you are supposed to wait and to go and wait for confirmation. When you arrive on 1 hour time frame, remember every time frame has its own story. So whatever you are seeing on the daily time frame ain't the same thing that you're gonna be seeing on the 1 hour time frame. Those time frames, they have different structures, but the objective will be the same. Okay, remember what is happening on the lower time frame. It is just to fulfill the objective of the higher time frame. So what is the objective here? We are anticipating that once the market comes to this key zone on the daily time frame, we are anticipating that the 1 hour time frame will shift direction because we are expecting to see 1 hour time frame being very bullish as it is approaching this zone. This is our daily zone. All right, and you can see very clear that this pair on 1 hour time frame, it is very bullish, and this is our last break of structure towards this zone. So what am I waiting for? I'm waiting for an M formation. This is what we are calling an M formation. What is this? We have a break to the upside and then a change of character. Immediately I see this, that will be my trigger, or that is what will confirm to me that this market is ready to sell, and I'll be looking for an area to look for that selling opportunity. Okay, so having that in mind now, I want us to analyze this market from the 1 hour time frame. You can see very clearly that this is our last break of structure. Okay, even when you go to the 4 hour time frame, we can confirm that this is a true break of structure which tap to this supply zone on the 4 hour time frame. All right, so what am I waiting for? You can see I've put an alert on this low because this is the low that led to this break of structure. Okay, so if this market is going to close below here, a 1 hour candle is going to close below here, then that will be my confirmation to look for my selling opportunity. So I want you to keep a eye on this. Once you have that break to the downside, that will be your confirmation. Now we have a change of character. We look for an entry or an area for us to sell from. All right, either a breaker block, a fair value gap, order block, supply zone, whichever area that you are going to see that works for you. Look for an area to sell then we will be targeting at least 1:3. Always make sure you pay yourself. You take the partials at 1:3, or you can take the full TP at 1:3. And if you want to hold, you can hold up to this low, because that is where we are anticipating this market to go next. Once it gives us a confirmation to sell from that area. So that is it on Euro USD. That is what I'm currently watching, because market has not yet given us that. So we are currently being patient. Remember, as a trader, you need to be very, 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 very patient. Okay, so that is why I'm putting a lot here. I'm not going to trade anything unless I see that change of character. All right, so the selling opportunity is not valid until we have that change of character. Okay, so that is it on Euro USD. We're going to be looking at GBP USD. So GBP USD, the same to the Euro USD. We had this as our last break of structure. Market gave us this change of character, and then we could see this supply zone here on the 4-hour time frame. All right. So once we see this one on the 4-hour time frame, the last valid break of structure from the 4-hour time frame is this one. We have this break of structure to the upside. Although, since this one is a 4-hour zone, we are supposed to go to the 15 minutes, at least 15 minutes time frame, and wait for our confirmation over there. So from the 15 minutes time frame, we can see that we have a break of structure already. We have this break of structure, and the GBP USD has already given us a change of character to the downside. You can see we have a change of character here. All right, so that's our change of character. We can confirm whether this is a true break on 1-hour time frame. When you go to the 1-hour time frame, you can see we have a break to the upside, and then we have a change of character to the downside. All right, so although now, since in terms of swing structure, this was our last low, right? That is what we have seen from the 4-hour time frame. That is why I'm saying I will be very confident if this market will close this low, because I know this market can come to this supply zone, not supply, but this demand zone. This market can come to this demand zone, and then we buy from here. Okay, since this is our last break of structure, and this pullback never came at least to the 50%. So the current dealing range, or the current structure that you can see from the 4-hour time frame, it is from this low all the way to this high. Since now the market has confirmed that this is our swing high by giving us this internal change of character. Okay, all right. But whenever the Euro USD is going to give us that change of character here, if the Euro USD will confirm that break of structure to the downside, so that means we're going to be looking for that selling opportunity. All right. But also, if you want to trade this, you have to be very careful now. And you can watch out for this supply zone that is on top here. You can watch out. This is an area that I expect you to look for another confirmation from the 15 minutes time frame. At least to be sure that, because I'm anticipating that the market will give reaction from this supply, from this demand zone here. At least to be sure that the market is going to sell, we need to have another confirmation here from the 15 minutes time frame. Once you have that change of character from the 15 minutes time frame here, that will be your confirmation that this market is ready, really ready to sell from there. Because we know that the market can come to this demand, and then we fuel that buy to the upside. So watch out for these two zones. Watch out for these two zones. But I'll be very glad if we can get that selling opportunity, since in terms of externally or external structure, we are very bearish because of this change of character, right? So we need to see a change of character, and we need to see this market selling to the downside, at least to come and take out this low. Okay, so that is it on GBP USD. What about gold? We are proceeding to gold. Looking at the gold from the daily time frame, if you remember what we did here on Sunday, guys, I was telling you guys, since in terms of internal or internally, this was our daily structure. We had this daily break of structure. And then what did we say, guys? When the daily wants to come for a pullback, then the 4-hour time frame will give 4-hour swing will change direction. If you look closely, when you go to the 4-hour time frame, in the 4-hour time frame, this is our break of structure. This is our swing structure from the daily, from the 1 hour, the 4-hour time frame. We have this break of structure. Then the market gave us this change of character. That is to show us that daily time frame wants to come for a pullback. And when you go to the daily time frame, we can see very clearly that this pullback, this first pullback, never came to the 50% of our dealing range. Because if we pick our fib, we place from the high all the way to the low, we can see that this I never tapped at least with the 50% of our zone. And we could see a very good order block above there. And we also have this order block above here where we can see liquidity below it. So these are the zones. If you remember closely that I told you guys I will be expecting to see a reaction from this area. And also, since we are reacting from, if you look at externally, external structure, this was our break of structure. This is the last bullish break of structure. Market came to react from this support zone from the weekly time frame. We have market reacting from this support zone from this weekly time frame, and the 4 hours given us that change of character. So at this point of time, I cannot ignore this demand zone. You see this demand zone because the 4-hour time frame has given us a change of character, confirming that the market is respecting this structure. Even though we are looking to sell from this area, for me, this sale is going to be a short-term sell. I need to see what the market will do once it comes to this demand zone, okay? Because this is an area where market can come, tap to this demand zone or this fair value gap that is above here, and then we continue going up to respect this zone that we are getting here from here. Even when you look at, when you observe the momentum that we are getting, guys, if you compare this momentum when the market was going down and when the market is going up, you can really see that there is different in terms of sizes of the candlestick. You can really see that the bulls are really taking control of this market. Okay, so this is an area that we anticipate to see a reaction, gold coming to this area, and then we see a buyer movement from there. But currently, because I trade what I'm currently seeing, I'm really waiting for confirmation here to look for selling opportunity. If I go to the, since that is a daily zone, I want to go to the 1 hour time frame. Once I go to the 1 hour time frame, let me remove this. Once I get to the 1 hour time frame, what am I seeing? This is my last bullish break of structure. You can see we have a break of structure there to the upside. Candle closed above there. So that means this is the low that led to this break of structure. I'm currently waiting for a gold to break this low. Once I see this break of structure, that will be my confirmation that we have now a change of character, and I'll be joining with the pullback. I'll look for an area to join on the pullback, and then I'll be targeting at least 1:3. If I get 1:3, I'll be contented with that already. Okay, so watch out for that on gold. I'm currently looking for selling opportunity once the market breaks that low. In case we don't break that low, I will not be taking any trade. Okay, because market can come to this demand zone that we are seeing here or this support zone and then continue going up. But when we close below here, we'll have our hem formation because this is our, we have that pullback, a break to the upside, and now we'll be waiting for that change of character. Once we get that, then look for an area to sell, and then you target at least 1:3. Okay, so that is it on gold. Since we are giving just an update, I'm not going to explain so much on this. All right, so before I forget, guys, I do run a private mentorship. So if you'd like to join for next month, because I'm currently very busy with the current students on this August mentorship, if you'd like to join the September mentorship, the waiting room is currently open for the students on September. So the payment and also the charges for the mentorship is indicated on the comment description of this video. So if you are really serious to join this mentorship, if you want to take, you elevate your trading to another level, you can really send me a text on WhatsApp and I will guide you on how to join. All right. So now moving on to the next pair. Next pair is going to be BTC. If you remember, guys, on what we did here on Sunday on BTC USD, I told you guys that we'll be watching for a confirmation from this supply zone. Are you seeing this supply zone? That is where we were, guys. And looking at what is currently happening, already the market has given us that confirmation. Are you seeing it? Right? This was our last break of structure into this supply zone. And then on Monday, we saw BTC giving us a change of character to the downside. All right. So we have this very nice change of character to the downside. So now once we see this change of character, it's our high time to start looking for that selling opportunity. And if I go to the 4-hour time frame, what am I seeing? This is just one movement up to this low for me. Because if I pick this fib, I place from the high to the low, I can see that this pullback, this first pullback never came to the 50%, and I could see a very massive fair value gap above there. All right. So now all of this one, because this first movement never came to the 50%, I will be using all of this to be my dealing range. So I have the dealing range from this high all the way to this low. And I'm having this relative equal highs here as liquidity. So what am I anticipating? I'm anticipating for the BTC to come to this supply zone, and I'll be taking my entry from that area. Okay, I will be taking my sales from that area, then targeting this low. Because the market has already given me this change of character, I don't have to look for another confirmation from this area. But if you want to look to be sure about this zone, you can look for 15 minutes change of character within this area. And also by doing that, you will increase your risk to reward. Because I believe if you wait for a 15 minutes confirmation around this area, you will have a very tight stop loss, meaning you will increase your risk to reward. Okay. But if you don't want to avoid missing that entry, once the market taps to this zone, because already we have the confirmation of this break of structure, we can look for an aggressive entry from this area, and then we target this low. Since the risk to reward is already good, by taking this kind of an entry, you get 1:4 out of it, which is a very good risk to reward. So that is it. That is my setup that I'm waiting on BTC. I already have an alert above here. Once the market comes to that area, I'll be alerted, and then I'll look to set my limit order on that area to target this low. Then the last pair on our watch list is gonna be AUD USD. The same thing I'm watching on AUD USD. Because I personally I trade structure. What am I seeing? This was my last break of structure on the 4-hour time frame. All right. I have this one as my protected high since it swept this liquidity here. So it is a very strong high around that area. What am I seeing? I can see that yesterday market came and swept that high during the CPI news. So market swept that high and then it closed inside. We have a market just weakened that high and closed inside. So what am I waiting for as my confirmation? The same, this low. This is the low that I'll be waiting for this pair to break. Once the AUD USD breaks this low, that will be our confirmation that this pair is ready to sell. And if you compare this movement to the downside and this movement to the upside, you can really tell that these buyers are really struggling to push this market up. Okay, you can really tell that this is really what do you call it? This is really a pullback. Okay, so once we have that change of character, that is our signal that now the market movers are ready to take this market to the downside, and all these lows that we are seeing here, they are going to be liquidity. All these lows that we are seeing down here, they're gonna be liquidity to the market. So what are we anticipating? We're anticipating the market to crash down, to sweep all this liquidity, to come and give us a new break of structure to the downside. So once you have that closure of this candle down here, either from the 4-hour time frame or from the 1 hour, at least 1 hour time frame, once you see 1 hour candle closing below that low, that will be our signal that this market is ready to sell. So what will you do? Look for an area to join on the pullback, and then you target those lows. And always make sure to take the partials at 1:3. Once the market gives you 1:3, you can pay yourself from there, because anything can happen. Sometimes the market can give you that risk to reward and then reverses on you. So it is always good to pay yourself on the way. Okay, and guys, that is it on our today's update. I don't know which other pairs that you are watching. I want to say, are we having the same analysis, or maybe what do you think about those pairs that I've analyzed today? So thank you for watching this video, guys. I'll see you on Sunday video. Bye bye. I wish you a fantastic trading week. Bye.